Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw.
Welcome back to another episode of Breaking Brews. I'm your host, Commander Claw. And yes, I'm bringing you cards from the Aetherdrift set that is here to upgrade your Nekusar the Mindrazer Commander deck. Or even just a group hug slash wheels type of commander that is out there. There's prevalent many other ones or even strategies that are used with this. And back to Nekusar, he is a top 50 commander in my opinion. I've seen him on EDH Rec go from being number top 5 to 22, and right now, as of April 8th, 2025, when I made this video, he is exactly number 48. Wow. Wow. But if you never played with this commander before, super cool. You get to give your players, meaning yourself and your opponents, extra additional cards. And when you do, they are punished each time they draw a card. And that is at least one damage. But if you never played against Nekusar, I can tell you it's not only one damage. It ends up being two. It ends up being three. And next thing you know, game's over. Your turns have been expedited because you're losing more life and drawing more cards, thinking that you're actually going to be able to cast a card and win the game or get Nekusar off the board. But the problem is the strategy is just more punishing effects. With that being said, let me read the commander's abilities. Nekusar the Mindrazer for 2 and Grixis, 2/4 body. Legendary creature, zombie wizard. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Nekusar the Mindrazer deals 1 damage to that player. So if you are piloting Nekusar, you do not get punished for drawing an additional card. Okay? Only your opponents. So right there, that's good. You're up one, you're net one. You're not losing life and you just draw an additional card. And you have blue in your color pip, so you're drawing more cards anyway because you plan on putting draw spells in there. And you have wheel effects. Wheels say discard your hand and draw X cards. This is just me generally talking about wheel effects. And they can also go for your opponents. One major super popular wheel card is Windfall. You draw cards equal to the amount of cards, the highest amount of cards in a player's hand, and you discard your hand. Yes, some players end up having 7, 9 cards in their hand, and what happens is those opponents end up losing 1 life for how many cards they drew after a windfall, which gets pretty disgusting. So, on to the Aetherdrift set of cards that I recommend for Nekusar the Mindrazer as upgrades. Aetherdrift! Meow! All right, first of all, we're going to talk about the Crypt Caller Chariot for 3 and a black, 5/5 body, artifact vehicle. It has menace, and it says whenever you discard one or more cards, create that many tap 2/2 black zombie creature tokens, crew 2. So this card is just a good token generator after discarding cards and building a board state because Grixis is known for having cards that sacrifice something as an additional cost to get a spell's ability magnified at even better and at a better rate. Uh, the good thing about this card is an artifact vehicle. So if you tap a creature with power 2 or creatures that are 1/1 to equal up to crew 2, you have a 5/5 menace. Otherwise, this is just an artifact that's sitting on the battlefield, probably not being targeted by your opponents because they have other things to deal with, and you're just creating 2/2 tapped black zombie creatures as sack fodder, or after your next turn, they become blockers or attackers. Great card. Moving on to another recommended card from Aetherdrift. Discard payoffs, 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 payoffs. Okay, so let's talk about Monument to Endurance. This is one of my favorite cards in my Captain Howler Sea Scourge commander deck. The reason why Monument to Endurance is 3 mana artifact. It says whenever you discard a card, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. You either draw a card, create a treasure token. Each opponent loses 3 life. So you will be discarding often in your Nekusar the Mindrazer deck, and you're already pinging your opponents for 1 life minimum. Now, when you discard a card, I highly recommend each opponent loses 3 life. This gets out of control. So opponents are losing 2 life at the beginning of their upkeep. Then, whenever you decide to discard a card, you can make them lose 3 life on their turn. And that's each opponent. So you will be a target, but this card just expedites the game. It's super powerful. The reason why I talk about each opponent loses 3 life more than the other two, because it expedites the game. You will win. You will win, I promise you. Moving on to another card. We got Magmakin, Artillerist, for 2 and a red, 1/4 body, Elemental Pirate. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, this creature deals that much damage to each opponent. Cycling for 1 and a red, discard this card, draw a card. When you cycle this card, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Cool. Let's talk about the cycling effect real quick. Not bad. You get to draw a card, discard the card, and deal 1 damage to each opponent. It works. It works. However, its first ability, its triggered ability, is very, very good because whenever you discard 1 or more cards, this creature deals that much damage to each opponent. So if you happen to discard 9 cards from a windfall, each opponent loses 9 life. That is gross. This card is a must add if you're doing Group Slug Wheels theme for Nekusar. Moving on to my last recommended card. So honestly, this may not be my last recommended card, but Cursed Cloth Wrappings for 2 and 2 black. It's a black artifact. It says zombies you control get +1/+1. Remember those zombies we made earlier that came in tapped because we discarded a card? Yeah. So now they're 3/3s. Not bad, but that's not where this card shines. That's just a bonus. 3/3 zombies is pretty formidable. But anyway, all you got to do is tap this. Target creature card in your graveyard gains Embalm until end of turn. The Embalm cost is equal to its mana cost. Exile that card and pay its Embalm cost. Create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a white zombie in addition to its other types and has no mana cost. Embalm only as a sorcery. This card is just a really good black artifact reanimator on the battlefield. And you just reanimate the creatures that you want to bring back that are vital to your combos or whatever you got going on that need to trigger your group hug and wheels payoffs. That's why I recommend this card. Just a solid artifact to just reanimating those vital important creatures. Teferi's Ageless inside. So if you haven't seen my video on Vnwxt, Verbose host, that's how I say it. I don't know how you really pronounce Vnwxt. Yeah. For anyway, 1 in a blue, 0/4 body, legendary creature Homunculus. Okay, he has start your engines. If you don't know what that is, pretty much you need cards that have the start your engine mechanic, and you can increase your speed by 1 on your turn as long as you deal 1 damage. But it only happens 1 time per turn. So let me read it real quick. That's the fast version of describing it. Okay, start your engines. If you have no speed, it starts at 1. It increases once on each of your turns when an opponent loses life. Max speed is 4. Okay, he has the ability, you have no maximum hand size. That's awesome. Then he has max speed. If you would draw a card, draw 2 cards instead. This is literally Teferi's Ageless Insight. The reason why I recommend him for Nekusar, because if you have to start your engine mechanic built throughout Nekusar, this makes him reaching max speed easier. 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 When he's your mono blue commander, you're going to have to think of creative ways to deal damage to your opponents just to increase your speed. So, anyway, Vnwxt Verbose host, highly recommended. Just imagine another Teferi's Ageless Insight in your deck. Yeah, and most of the time you can't copy Teferi's Ageless Insight because it is a legendary enchantment. Just look at it. It is a legendary enchantment. Moving on. Nekusar, awesome commander. Right now, probably top 50. I've seen him float throughout the top 10 at times. I think he's pretty unique just because he's a group slug commander. New players actually enjoy them. The reason why, because when it's your first time, is dealing damage and giving players an additional card can be an uncomfortable mechanic. Okay, that's why I think once you're a new player and you try it, you see giving a player an additional card may not be that bad, but they're losing life quickly. And they're forced to play a faster game. And what you don't really think about is they may not get the card to answer Nekusar or any other permanents that's on the battlefield like you imagine. So you're just being a worry wart. Don't be that. Go for the gusto. Gamble a little bit. That's why Nekusar the Mindrazer is an awesome commander, because you're gambling letting players draw an additional card, but they're losing life at the same time. Choose your fate wisely. Thank you for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and share if you know any other Nekusar players out there that might need a recommendation of upgrades. Peace.